Welcome to Live Service, your weekly gaming news show with your host, Guns. Today we are going to be looking at, oh god, so many things. Actually, just turn that off. Like live service games themselves, you never know what you're going to get in this show. It changes all the time to suit formats that I find fun and entertaining, but right now we're going with a short-term news show. And to start off this week, on December 15th, 2023, boy, do we have a banger for you. Fantastic. Or F-intastic. I'm sure they want you to say fantastic. And the day before. So the day before it came out, and to nobody's surprise, it was a scam. And there's actually a video of me talking about I think it will be a scam because none of what they're showing just makes any sense. You can go back and watch that previous TikTok of mine. I think I also made it a short on YouTube. But the game released, and it was terrible. It was worse than terrible. It was actually a lie. They said it was going to be a open world MMORPG. It was not. It was not an open world, I don't want to say MMORPG, but an open world survival game, an open world looter shooter. It was not any of that. Instead, it was terrible. It was a very shallow extraction shooter with a next to nothing economy, bad servers, horrible bugs, bad stability. I mean, you name it, the game had 1,000,001 issues. They made an official statement shortly after the release. Today, actually this is 4 days, this was on a Monday. Today we announced the foreclosure of F-intastic Studios. Unfortunately, the day before has failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. That part's a lie, by the way. We'll get to that in a second, though. We invested all our efforts, resources, and man hours in the development of the day before. That's also a gigantic fucking lie. Which was our first huge game. Another lie. We really wanted to release new patches to reveal the full potential of the game. Another lie. But unfortunately, we don't have the funding to continue the work. Another lie. Let's break this down bit by bit by bit. 5-year journey. They've maybe worked on this game for 6 months maximum. Someone's currently doing a case study regarding the day before in which they are trying to recreate it using pre-bought assets. They're already 80% of the way there. Someone else did some source code digging. The day before uses nothing but pre-bought assets off of the Unreal store. There's a whole survival kit that you can buy that is like all the inventory stuff that you see in the day before. They were using nothing but bought assets. The entire map is a $300 Unreal asset that they bought. Most of their systems are Unreal assets and scripting that they bought. These guys are literally no better than script kiddies. They don't have a studio. They have a co-op like duplex that they live in, that they use as a studio, but they put on living expenses. In the account of the actual studio, F-intastic, there was a little over $3 million. They had got funding from a publisher that was interested in investing them. Apparently the CEO was paid $300,000 a year, and the another one of the guys, co-partners, was paid something like $200,000 a year. They were paid over $250,000 for travel expenses to areas to show off whatever they had to show off of the game. There were only, as far as we know, 2 people actually getting paid from this entire studio. They don't have anybody else. The entire clip of him showing him playing the game, that was fake. It was a pre-recording. He only showed like 30 seconds and he just mimicked the mouse movements. There is a completely shallow, unverified rumor that there are arrest reports or warrants for their arrest in South Korea. I don't know how true that is. I don't think it's true at all. I don't know that you could be. South Korea takes this stuff kind of seriously, so it's hard to say. Their publisher, Mytona, is definitely like not happy about it. To all the Day Before players, as an investor of the Day Before, we would like to provide some updates on the current situation around the game. We're sorry for the fact that the game didn't meet the expectations of the majority of players. Today we will work with Steam to open up refunds for any players who choose to make a refund. We're in contact with Fantastic regarding the future of the game. There is no future of the game. The studio is closed down. The game is dead unless they try to sell the property off to another studio, which will then have to take it and update it, which actually might happen. As it turns out, they are selling off their other studios and updating. For instance, if I go to Steam right now and I go look at let's see, The Wild 8 was another one of their games, so let's go look at that. So The Wild 8 recently got bombarded with negative reviews because this was made and owned by Fantastic. Apparently, they have sold the rights to this developer, 8 Points, right here. Now, whether or not 8 Points is just actually a cover-up for Fantastic and they're making another studio, I have no idea. It's weird. There's things regarding this saying they changed their name to 8 Points or sold their IP. A lot of people are thinking they actually sold the IP to these other studios. They're trying to liquidate all their assets, like the IP, the games. They may try to liquidate the Day Before. There might be some crazy ass South Korean studio that will buy it and try to revitalize it. It's hard to say. This is like crazy. They claim they've been working on this game for 5 years. It's a difficult 5-year journey. And then they list, oh, we opened the studio in 2015. We released The Wild 8, Dead Dozen, Radiant 1, Prop Night the day before. Look, the studio closing 4 days after the game released, they were going to close the studio no matter what. They did not close the studio because the Day Before did financially poor. They were going to release the Day Before, and regardless of how it sold, they were closing the studio. They had investors breathing down their necks. Where's our product? Where's our money? Where's your studio? Where's your workers? How are they being paid? All of these questions, I guarantee you, the investors were asking deliberately and saying, if you don't start making payments to us for our debts, we're going to come after you. Apparently there was over $1 million inside the studio development account. Now again, I don't have any proof of this, but if you use some logical thinking, both the CEO and the other guy that was working with him of Fantastic have up and disappeared completely. No LinkedIn, no social media. They both had over $500,000 in currency and have just disappeared off the face of the planet. Those guys took the money and ran to be, I don't know, lovers somewhere in a South Korean forest. So Steam has removed the game off their page. Mytona is working for those with refunds. There are community managers and Twitter holders that were completely in the dark and have no idea. It's, you know, they've even, which here's the thing. I don't know how much I trust this. But they say, we're closing. Rumors suggesting that we've changed the name are not true. We are not affiliated with the Wild 8 for many years. Read it for yourself. These guys have done a couple of illegal things already. I would not be surprised if they had a friend of theirs go make a shell company in which this studio, the Wild 8, came out of. Or 8 Points came out of. The fact that it's called 8 Points and they bought the Wild 8 is a little bit suspicious to me already anyway. So, you know, it's crazy. And it keeps going. It keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier the more you dig into this. Long of the short of the long, stop pre-ordering games, people. And it's actually funny that I say that. You couldn't pre-order the day before. So you would think, oh, this doesn't apply. There will be a game that you can pre-order at some point in the future that has something similar like this happen to it. There are no, this shows you the level of freedom that developers have on Steam and on these other platforms to try to sell their game. they can fuck you over like this. Now, in a country like America, it would be a lot harder to do, I believe, because social media awareness is so prevalent, and like we have a bunch of crazy ass people here that will actively try to dox you. But in a country like South Korea or Chinese developers, I feel like they could get away with this a lot easier than we could. So this is why I'm personally leery of a lot of Southern Asian developmental studios, which sucks because many of them put out some great games like Once Human, which we're going to talk about later on. I've been playing Once Human a ton and I love it, and that's a South Korean studio, and it's a fantastic game, and it's just in beta. It's going to release Q3 of 2024. It looks fantastic. But we have bad actors like this from Fantastic that come along that ruin the party for everybody and reinforce the fact that you should not buy a game within its first 24 hours of release, nor should you pre-order it. Wait until the reviews come out, go watch a stream, go watch other people play it. The issues come to the surface very quickly. You're not going to miss out on anything. Even in the worst case scenario where you raid in Destiny, which I do raid in Destiny, let's say the final shape comes out and you don't buy it day 1, you don't buy it day 2, you don't buy it day 3, you wait till the next reset Tuesday to buy it. In that week, you can still beat the legendary campaign and be raid ready. So you don't have to, that's a time sensitive thing. You still don't have to buy it the first week. So I totally recommend not buying games on day 1 releases, not buying DLCs on day 1 releases. Destiny, we'll talk about, man, poor Destiny, the game. Fuck the managers and the CEO, Pete Parsons can suck a dick. But yeah, fantastic, crazy ass story. Just a reminder, don't believe everything you're sold by some Asian man on the internet. Enough of them. She might look familiar to you, and if she does, boy, do I have something fun for your next story. Apologies, I'm doing this live. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm coughing up a storm this morning. This is Morgue Pie, and she's on the Twitch drama alert because she was banned, along with this girl. I wonder why. Was banned for a 24-hour period. And then Twitch changed their policies for artistic nudity. Moving forward, this is the change in policy. So Twitch just basically allowed artistic nudity on the platform. That was starting like Wednesday. Then Thursday happened, and I can't show you anything that was on Twitch. It was literal fucking porn. There's a difference between tasteful artistic nudity and porn or hentai. If you go look at aka Mike B Photo on Instagram, aka Mike B Photo, he's a photographer that photographs partially naked or fully naked women in very tasteful artistic fashions. That's art. There was just porn. Literally there was hentai, 3D hentai, asses shaking, vaginas spread eagle, buttholes gaped open, furry porn, doing vor, like that they were just like you, and this was all on Twitch's art. You just scrolled through and there it all was. And there were streamers getting banned left and right, hot, fast, heavy, over and over. It was crazy. It was literally the wild, wild west for a 24-hour period. You could go to Twitch's art section and jerk off easily. You could find probably whatever you were into. It was insane. So, what did Twitch do? They rolled it back within a 24-hour period. Moving forward, depictions of real or fictional nudity won't be allowed on Twitch, regardless of the medium. So effective today, we're rolling back the artistic nudity changes. Moving forward, depictions of real or fictional nudity won't be allowed on Twitch, regardless of the medium. This restriction does not apply to mature rated games, so you can still have nudity in mature rated games, so boba in video games is fine. You can find emote specific standards for nudity and sexual content in the emote guidelines. We aren't making any other changes to the updated sexual content policy. We are in the process of pushing out updates to community guidelines that reflect this change. It will take a few days for both this blog and the community guidelines to be translated. While I wish we could have predicted this outcome, part of our job is to make adjustments to serve the community. I apologize for the confusion with this update. So yeah. There was literal porn on Twitch for about 24 hours. An aggressive amount of porn. Not even joking with how aggressive it was, okay? And now it's gonna hopefully all be gone. Hopefully, yeah, opinions. Freudian slip, whatever. They said they're going to update some of these policies. Artistic nudity is going to be removed. But I don't know if they're still going to allow twerking or grinding or things like that. That remains to be seen. We'll get updated policies in the next couple days, but this is crazy. Twitch was literally the Wild West of like porn for a second, and this obviously looked very negatively to ad viewers, and they clamped it down within 24-hour period. It was insane. Next story. The Last of Us Online. There was an image that leaked from it. I don't have the image here. They won't show it because of copyright infringement. I'm afraid Naughty Dog might try to take this video down for that reason, but you can go find it if you'd like to. The Last of Us Online was canceled. It was the always online multiplayer Last of Us styled combat game. There were a couple of things that were inside the game that leaked. There was a battle pass and progression. There was a battle royale mode called Survivor Solos. There was a bunk that was presumably like your armory or the place that you lived. There was an in-game item store. There was a jobs board, a study, and there was going to be seasonal content. Apparently, part of the reason why it was canceled is that the bulk of the game was just you going out, gathering resources, finding other players, and killing them out in the open, and all these other things were meant to keep you coming back and playing more. Like, that was the bulk of their content. And a lot of people are blaming Bungie that this is the reason why it got canceled. No, Bungie said there's not a lot of reason for players to keep playing it, which they were right. Go out, it had as much reason to keep playing as the day before currently does. You go out, you gather resources. They were or were not worth a lot of things. You sold them. That was it. Then you could play in the Battle Royale mode. There weren't a ton of rewards from it. There was an in-game item store to purchase cosmetics. There was a job board to go do tasks for XP and levels. There wasn't a whole ton of reason to play it. There wasn't a whole ton of progression or interest or in-game content, and they didn't really know how to make that, so they made the hard decision to close it down because they didn't really know how to expand upon that. Which is sad because I think this game would have been really cool. Their combat in the Last of Us multiplayer is always very interesting. I honestly was looking forward to this one a lot. I was hoping it would eventually come to PC, but the chances of that are probably actually pretty slim given that it's Sony. But The Last of Us always had a very unique, cool, and visceral styled combat that made everything feel really good and gritty. And the multiplayer, I'm sad they didn't continue to keep up with that multiplayer. It was very interesting and invigorating and set in an interesting world. And that's a discussion piece I could talk about how, like, multiplayers are fun and all, but multiplayers are more fun when they are set in a world that you care about, that has interesting lore and backstory, and improves the illusion that you're in the immersion of it, right? A really great example of this, to a point, is Destiny. Destiny has a multiplayer and a PvP mode that makes you believe you're in it for a period of time. Obviously, that image has faded, and Destiny's not what it used to be, but at a time, that made it far more interesting. And I think the backdropping of The Last of Us Online multiplayer was very interesting as well. Sad to see it go. But Naughty Dog basically said the other reason we decided to cancel it as well is that we would basically have to transition to a full online games as a service studio, and that would degrade our support for future games, which I totally agree with them. I did not like The Last of Us 2, but I absolutely do want to see a Last of Us 3, and it is a unique choice that they're taking and how they're pushing this game forward, so we'll see. Next up, Ready or Not hit 1.0. It is a SWAT tactical sim game that you can play with your friends, infiltrating places where terrorists or robbers or criminals or whatever may have come in. It's very interesting. There was a whole ton of sponsored streams for it. They had some increased visuals for character customization and overhauled some visual effects. There's a whole ton of new features with 1.0, a lot of audio improvements with their quantum sound engine. It looks like a ton of fun for friends. Not my kind of game personally, as it is strictly just a multiplayer PvE game without a whole ton of lore or story behind it, aside from your SWAT and you get to go in and shoot bad guys. Some people, that is good enough, and it is. I hope you enjoy it and like it. It looks pretty freaking sick and feature complete in 1.0. God of War Ragnarok was a DLC that was teased at the Game Awards. It is completely free on PlayStation 5 currently for God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, and it is a DLC roguelite that people are saying they could have easily charged $30 to $40 for this DLC, and it would have been warranted. There are apparently a ton of very interesting, long-winded systems with lots of progression in this, and there are quite a few interesting spoilers and story-related things that I'm not going to completely go over because, again, it's apparently worth the journey and figuring out for yourself, but if you have God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, this DLC is completely free. There's also apparently a challenge at the very end that is so difficult that not even any of the developers in-house have completed it. So I think that's definitely something worth checking out. NVIDIA's RTX 4070, 4080 Ti, and 4080 Super are leaked ahead of CES. The dates for their release are leaked. Apparently, they are set to launch in January 2024. This surprises absolutely nobody. We are still on track to get the 5000 series at the end of 2024 or the beginning of 2025. Sometime around there. A lot of people are saying that there's a rumor that they're going to wait next year to release 2025 and we're not, or the 5000 series, and we're not going to get it until the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. I don't know if that's true. We'll see. But you can expect those to be outrageously priced at your nearest PC part picker place soon. Lego Fortnite. I don't actually have much to say about it. There's a new patch. The reason why this is here is to remind me that this is a really good game and you should go play it. I don't say that lightly. I despise Fortnite and everything about it. I have been playing Lego Fortnite off stream and I like it a lot. I don't know why. But maybe you should go check it out. It's Lego Fortnite. And it's Lego Minecraft Fortnite, and it's really fun. I like it a lot. Next, there are Elden Ring, Shadows of the Erdtree DLC theories and possible release dates. I'm not going to read any of those. I just want you to know that they are out there in case you want to know, because I believe you can only play an a FromSoft game once, and once you've played it blindly that first time, the experience changes forever. So I ignore all of this. I always go dark on anything FromSoft or Elden Ring related, but there are possible leaks out there and a release date if you want to go looking for them. Otherwise, if you don't want to go looking for them and you're like me and you like to do it blind, I encourage you to try to put on blinders when you see anything related to Elden Ring for the next probably like 6 months or so. Side note, there is a first-person mod for Elden Ring that looks sick as fuck, and I may actually play that at one point. The finals. There's apparently this news article is here because there is apparently an exploit that you can create like a bomb using C4 and fire mine explosive barrels, and it just creates like a crazy ass, here you go. That's not what I wanted you to do for me. But I also put this here because I am enjoying the finals a ton, and I think you should go play them too. That's insane. That's not real. I gotta go try that now. I have to go try that now. But the finals is an incredibly fun game. I highly encourage you to go try it out and play it. I am having a ton of fun with it as a first-person shooter. As far as person shooters go, it is one of my favorite recently. It makes me love first-person shooters again. Ton of fun. Payday 3 had a new big update recently. It was their first DLC. It added a new heist, and there are also total 2 previous heists added from Payday 2 into the game. So we had the new core heist added, and then we have 9 core heists now and 2 legacy heists. This also added several guns, new features, new skill lines. It's very interesting. I'm a very big fan of this. I might actually personally wait until we get the second large update. I played Payday 3 at launch. I felt it was very sparse on content and unfortunate and didn't really have a ton. I think this game needed more time in the oven, and maybe that additional 6 months for them to push out additional content will be it. But I am very much looking forward to it. It is definitely a improvement over the second game in terms of base functionality, and I can't wait to see what else they do with it. And that's it. That's the news for this week on December 15th, 2023. If there's any news stories you think I missed this week, please feel free to come back and tell me. If there's anything I didn't cover that you want me to cover, please come back and tell me. What was your favorite or most interesting thing this week? What do you think about the F-Fantastic scenario? Do you think we need more policies or things against developers to prevent them from being able to do things like this? There's a lot of speculation with F-Fantastic, right? There's no hard evidence about what they did in terms of like whether or not they did steal everybody's money, whether or not it's a scam. I mean, obviously it is a scam, but like, you know, there's so many questions about how did this happen? Why did it happen? And what's going to happen to them next? What's going to happen to the studio next, or that IP, or anything? And how do we prevent it from happening again? I'm Guns. Thanks for watching live service. I will see you guys next week on Friday morning. GG. Later, guys.